You may have realized that being healthy feels different than it did in the past now that you're over 50. If you want to maximize your health potential but don't have time to read through overwhelming pages of Google links, this is the show for you. Welcome to Healthy Tips After 50. We love doing the research, finding solutions, talking to health experts, and learning what works and what doesn't. Now, your host. She spent the last 25 years dedicated to feeling her best and is here to share her best findings with you, Susan Rosen.
Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosen, and my guest today is Robert Johnson, and I couldn't screw that name up, so that was really easy. I like those kind. And Robert is in a number of different kind of niches, but I think your major one is in mushrooms. But I'm going to ask Robert to introduce himself and tell us a little bit more about himself, which I usually do.
Well, yeah, thank you, Susan. Really appreciate being on. Excited to talk with you today. My name's Robert Johnson. I'm the founder of the functional mushroom brand Mycroboost, and we work with what are called adaptogenic or functional or medicinal mushrooms. Not the ones that go on your pizza, and not the ones that take you to another dimension, but the ones that like the Chinese have been using in their medicine for thousands of years. We work with 5 particular types of functional mushrooms: lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, reishi, and turkey tail. And we founded this particular brand after a couple of years of running another business called Custom Capsule Consultants. We're a white label, private label manufacturer of all sorts of different plant-based medicines. And I kept getting more and more requests for lion's mane, and I was working with a few other clients with that product. I started doing my research. I found it really interesting and beneficial. I started taking lion's mane myself, and got so motivated to start our own functional mushroom line. So that's most recently what I've been doing, and I also write about all types of mushrooms for Rolling Stone, not just adaptogenic, but also psychedelic mushrooms as well. So I went to school for writing. I was a big fan of Hunter S. Thompson, and so writing about psychedelics and Rolling Stone has kind of been a lifelong dream of mine, and now I'm excited that they let me do it.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. And so you were telling me that you live in LA. Are you actually from LA originally, or just
I was born
end up there?
I was born in the Bay Area when my dad was going to grad school at Berkeley. And
know it well, yes.
Yeah. When I was a baby, we moved to San Diego. I lived there until I was about an adolescent, and then went to high school in Houston, Texas.
Oh my God, that's a big change.
I know. Yeah, San Diego to Houston.
And Berkeley to San Diego to Houston. That's like two sides of the world.
So after college, I got back to the West Coast as soon as I could. LA's been my home since 2008 now.
I can totally understand that. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to take that we're here to talk about mushrooms and other stuff like that. not our own individual I don't know what the right word is, excursions, I guess, moving around.
LA and San Francisco, San Diego are definitely great markets for mushrooms. Health conscious.
I would bet. Yeah.
And looking for alternative medicine. I was in the cannabis industry here in California from 2008 to 2018. So alternative medicine is definitely our bag here.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. Yeah, that was when cannabis actually started to be legal, huh?
Yeah, I think it was 2014 or 2012 is November 2012 is when California
Ah,
legalization
that's right.
went
That's
into,
right. Yeah.
I think it was January 2014.
Mm,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's been a long, long strange trip.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Exactly. No, I understand that. Um, yeah, part of not part of one of the things I enjoy about doing the podcast is just finding everybody's backstories. I get
Yeah.
very I get very interested in, well, how did you end up there? What do you
Well,
mean you're off in North Dakota, you know?
it really was supplement manufacturing that got me
Uh-huh.
interested in mushrooms. When we sold
Yeah.
our cannabis business in 2018, we started
Hmm.
custom capsules primarily to work with CBD and
Okay.
hemp-based products. So in
Yep.
2018, the federal government legalized hemp and
Hmm.
discerned it from cannabis because it doesn't have the psychoactive effects of cannabis, but still a
Hmm.
lot of medicinal benefits. And I think the popularity of CBD really grew as cannabis was legalized, medicalized, decriminalized now in over 40 states in the U.S. And even back in 2014, I remember Sanjay Gupta was on CNN talking about CBD, and I got calls from the family, that previously I was the black sheep, and then they're calling me saying, "Hey, have you heard about this type of marijuana that
Uh-huh.
doesn't get high but has all the medical benefits?" I was like, "Yeah, Grandma, I've been talking to you about this for years." Uh, but I think that we're really seeing a parallel right now with the rise in interest in adaptogenic mushrooms because
Mm, mm,
there's a real push for the legalization of psychedelics, and similar to how CBD and cannabis have overlapping medical benefits. Similar sort of thing with how psychedelics work on the brain and how some of
mm.
these neuroprotective, neuroenhancing functional mushrooms work on the brain in similar ways. So I think that is part of why mushrooms are really having a moment, though they've been used in medicine for
Yeah.
millennia. But
Yeah.
have everyone from Oprah to Gwyneth Paltrow to Joe Rogan talking about their psychedelic and or adaptogenic mushroom experiences. People start to really pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think that's even widening to some of the other, with the LSD and those kinds of things, and finding medical uses
Oh,
for
absolutely.
those. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It just in my lifetime, we're legalizing cannabis, gambling,
Yeah.
maybe psychedelics.
Yeah.
I think the government's finally, come to the conclusion that if people are going to do these things, might as well make it as safe as possible and get their cut of the pie.
It's the last part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
It's definitely the last part. Yeah.
That's what I write about a lot in my writing. In
Uh-huh.
2023, how to discern between someone, especially forwarding these
Hmm.
plants or fungi in emerging markets, and
Mm.
what
Mm.
what their prescription for how these things should be regulated or sold to the general public. I always just kind of looking at who benefits from this, and are people really authentically believe that their particular niche is the only way that these things should be regulated, or just their own personal financial
Right.
interest? And I agree with you. I think that 9 times out of 10, it's clear. You know, like with cannabis, for example. As soon as recreational became legal in California,
Hmm.
you had a lot of of these people that, granted paid a lot of money, spent a lot of time to get these licenses, now doomsaying about, buying cannabis anywhere else. It's not safe. It could have pesticides. But think of the children, whereas, a year prior, they're campaigning against those same, kind of propaganda. So
yep.
It's a fun world that we live in.
Oh yeah. No, I was going to say you have become mainstream.
I know, actually, that's it. Kind of almost turns me off from the whole thing. I prefer the counterculture personally.
Well, I'm sure there are some more edgy things that you can get involved in.
Sure.
Oh yeah. So tell me a little bit more. There are a lot. Well, actually, even before this, lion's mane has become so normal now. I mean, everybody talks about lion's mane. If you talk to anybody who takes any kind of mushrooms or medicinal mushrooms or whatever, and it's all, oh yeah, I take lion's mane. It's always the first one.
I think there's a couple of main reasons for that. I think the name is really cool. It's good. It's very marketable. But seriously, it is, of all the functional mushrooms, the one that studies show has the most impact on our cognitive functions. I wrote an article, sort of examining different generations. Senior citizens, for sure, are interested in cognitive enhancement and protection against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Most of so many baby boomers, had one of their parents going through one of those neurodegenerative diseases, and no one wants that for their loved ones, and definitely not themselves. But so, like I was mentioning, the kind of similarities between, psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in psychedelic mushrooms, and lion's mane is two things that are pretty interesting. One is called neurogenesis, and this is actually the formation of new brain cells. And then the other is called neuroplasticity, which is forming new neural connections. And so, in extreme cases on psychedelics, new neural connections can equate to something like synesthesia, where you have like your senses kind of crossing in ways that they don't normally do, where you can, see music or taste color.
Okay.
These connections aren't normally being made. But I think a lot of the studies around microdosing, which is not a hallucinogenic experience, but more for healing your mind and forming these new connections. For me, like my personal experience is change is all a matter of, well, at least it starts with awareness, right? If we're not aware of the mental habits that we have, or, the sort of even unconscious, subconscious emotional reactions that we have to situations in life, it's hard to be able to change them. And so I think that people are interested more and more in reporting, these sort of life-changing effects of mushrooms, because of that awareness allows them to see it for what it is, and then make a choice to go in a different direction. As a supplements guy, and a guy, always kind of as a watchdog for people just, espousing stuff for their own financial gain. A lot of supplement companies and mushrooms are no exception. Will pitch this thing as like, a miracle cure-all. You don't need to do anything. Don't exercise. Don't eat well. Just take this product and you're going to be fine. But there's nothing like that. I've looked. If there was, we would offer it on our website.
Yeah. Right.
But as far as tools that are out there, of all the plant-based supplements that I've worked with, mushrooms are just beyond fascinating. And there's only so much study that's gone into them, prior to psychedelics being criminalized in the 60s with and there were thousands of research articles done on psychedelics and psychotherapy, and hundreds of conferences around the world. So now it really feels like I can't say feels like, but I grew up kind of idolizing the 60s, and some of the beatnik writers, and the revolutionary sort of feel of that generation. And so my hope is that we can sort of build on what y'all started back then, and hopefully continue to evolve and just be better people.
Yeah, well, good luck with that one, but it's a nice idea. It's a nice idea. We'll hold that idea, and maybe if enough of us keep that and send it positive energy, we can help it along. I just I'm what's the right word? I'm not that positive isn't the right word, but that
optimistic.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we can only control what we can control, and
that's right.
And for me, as an entrepreneur, I'm motivated to make our company grow for our investors, for our employees, and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy. And so when we started working with mushrooms, we created this particular vegan soft gel supplement that's a combination of lion's and cordyceps.
And what's the second one?
The second one is called cordyceps.
Oh, cordyceps. Okay. Yeah. No, I just didn't hear it correctly. Okay.
Yeah, there was like a fictional strain of cordyceps that was popularized in the HBO show The Last of Us this past year, where it's like a cordyceps that turns you into a zombie. Which it's actually based in some reality. There is a strain of cordyceps that can take over ants, and they can take over the brain of an ant and have them move into their colony, and actually the ants will die, and a mushroom sprouts from its head, so there is some basis to that. Now, this is not the type of cordyceps that we put in Mycroboost. There's over 400 different types of cordyceps mushrooms, but we use something called cordyceps militaris. My favorite anecdote about cordyceps is in the 90s, there was the women's Chinese track team that competed in the Olympics, and they did so well and broke so many records that they were all drug tested. It was suspicious how well they did. They all passed their drug test, and their coach credited cordyceps for their improved lung capacity and energy and speed. So that I call that my entrepreneur fuel. I have 2 of those every morning, along with a cup of Mycroboost coffee, which contains 3,000 milligrams of mushrooms per serving, a combo of all 5 of the mushrooms that we make.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's my secret to being able to work 10, 11, 12-hour days. And
oh my God. Okay. Wow. Interesting. I'm not sure I could do that, but yeah.
Some of the other mushrooms that we work with are really amazing as well. Turkey tail has
heard of that.
A lot of antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, even anti-cancer properties.
That's
probably
good.
The most famous mycologist, which is someone who studies mushrooms and fungus, is Paul Stamets, and he was the subject of the Netflix documentary Fantastic Fungi. and he has a TED Talk where he talks about his mother who was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and given less than a year to live, he gave her high doses of turkey tail for nine months or so, and she ended up living another like 15-20 years.
Wow.
That was a pretty amazing thing that stood out as I was, really diving into research, understanding mushroom. Reishi is known by the Chinese as the mushroom of immortality. Also has just amazing antioxidant, anti-inflammation properties. A lot of people report that it also gives them like relief from anxiety, kind of helps you be more calm. And some of our customers use it as an ingredient in like sleep aid products.
I was just going to say sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. So all these different mushrooms we combine in different formulas. So we have chaga, reishi, and turkey tail in this immunity boosting supplement. And then for those who are kind of new to mushrooms still and don't know which one that we should take, we have one called Wellness. That's a combination of all 5.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So you have your own line now, or because for a while you were doing it for other companies, right? You were providing.
It's Mycroboost, micro with a Y, MYCRO boost. And so I wanted to do mushrooms sooner than we got around to it. But what happened was I learned that a lot of supplement companies would contact me, and they would have different formulas or a list of ingredients that they wanted to include in their supplement. And as I would research whatever they were interested in, let's say is ashwagandha, for example, right? The suggested serving size of ashwagandha is anywhere between 800 and 1,500 milligrams, right, for a daily dose. It's a lot.
Okay.
As a soft gel manufacturer, it's a pretty small form factor, and it's an oil-based pill. So, when people would come to me and say, we want to do ashwagandha soft gels, I would explain to them, well, to really have a therapeutic dose, someone would need to take 5, 6, 7 pills, and that, doesn't seem convenient. And a lot of people, to my surprise early on would say, we just want to have it in the product so we can say that, we have ashwagandha product. And essentially, at first I kind of pushed back, like, but they're not going to really benefit from it unless they have, enough of it. And so the same thing with mushrooms is the issue with making the small form factors that we do, depending on who you ask, the serving size for functional mushrooms is between 800 and 3,000 milligrams per day.
Wow.
Right. So that was just way too much to put into small products like gummies and soft gels.
Oh, yeah.
Until I found a company out of Canada that makes concentrated versions of these mushrooms. So basically, an extracted form of it. So you get the equivalent of 10 times the lion's mane, in a single milligram. And so after we discovered that, I just never wanted to create a product that was a placebo, or, it just doesn't even make this sense that you would spend so much time and energy and, cost to acquire a new customer, not to give them something that they're going to really notice the benefits of it. So
I was just going to say that the downside of that is you're going to end up, if you don't do that, you're going to end up with all these people who are like, well, it didn't help me. I didn't get anything from it, and it starts to get a bad reputation.
I know. I saw that happen with CBD. There's so many people rushed into that industry looking to get rich, and didn't focus on making the best quality product, but how they could make the best margins. And I think it really tainted a lot of people's opinion of CBD because of those experiences. And I know that it can help a lot of people. So I don't want to see that same thing happen with mushrooms. So
Yeah.
one thing that's happening, is kind of in the weeds in the functional mushroom supplement business, right? But this same company that we purchased the extracts from has petitioned the FDA to change the way that they allow supplement manufacturers to label mushroom supplements. And the reason for this, and also something I've learned in the past few years, is when you grow lion's mane or any of these mushrooms commercially, you grow it, the soil essentially is like a starchy substrate, usually oats or rice or grains that you inoculate. And the root system of a mushroom is called the mycelium, right? So the mycelium goes into the grain, and then from what sprouts from the grain is known as the fruiting body. A stem and a cap, or in lion's mane's case, like a pom-pom's cheerleader's pom-pom looking fungus.
Right. Yeah.
But that fruiting body is what contains the majority of the beneficial compounds. There are some benefits and beneficial compounds found in mycelium, but it's at a very small percentage. And then in addition to that being a small percentage, a lot of these mushroom supplement companies will harvest the fruiting body, sell that in a farmer's market or in a more expensive type of product, but then they will pulverize the entire myceliated oat block, and that is what they're selling you in the capsules. So the company is petitioning the FDA to say, like, hey, the roots of a mushroom are not a mushroom, and these companies should not be allowed to say that their product is a mushroom or even put any sort of mushroom imagery on the packaging, misleading to the consumer. And their business is mushrooms. They've been in mushrooms for over 40 years, but still, a family-owned business, and they don't want to see the same thing that happened with CBD happen with mushrooms, where essentially the whole market tanks because big companies out there that are just essentially selling dirt to people and calling it mushrooms.
God. Well, human beings are nothing if not, what's the right word? I guess I need to start taking some lion's mane.
Opportunistic?
No, not even opportunistic, but just whatever they can do for the most amount of money for the least amount of work.
Sure.
Right? I mean, it's kind of, I was a history major, and it's just like, it hasn't changed. Human beings have not changed. It's really interesting.
Totally.
Oh, God. Funny. Oh, well, everyone is like, oh, yes, we've gotten so much more cultured and we've really moved ahead. And it's like, not really. We're just better at coming up with more, detailed and other kinds of things to use to to blow people up or or sell them something or take their money or whatever it happens to be. Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah, so I've always approached, supplements kind of with a skeptical mindset myself, and that's really why I got into it, as I wanted to make quality products for myself, for friends and family, and just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, no, exactly. So do you sell most of what you sell directly to the consumer, or do you do it through other companies?
Yeah, I mean, for our products on Mycroboost.com, that's where we do the majority of our sales. We do have some retailers now carrying our coffee and supplements. The white label manufacturing, there's a lot of different really good quality products out there that are made by us, that are sold under different brands that we work with.
Okay. Okay. And it's Mycroboost with a Y.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mycology is with
Right.
the Y, so we kept the Y in there. And also,
Yeah.
it's kind of if you know, you know, like micro boost. You can take it alone, and it's great. But if you are taking a micro dose, it also has a good synergistic effect with it. You know, so boost your micro.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So do you have, since I haven't been up and actually looked at your website, um, so do you have different combinations or are they all single kind of
So
things?
yeah, our gummies we separate by the individual mushrooms. It comes in an assorted
Okay.
pack, but you know each
Uh-huh.
different type of mushroom is a different flavor and
Okay.
color. Mostly
That's
with
good.
alliteration, we made the lion's mane lemon and the orange cream cordyceps, black cherry chaga.
Oh,
But
they
that's
all sound good.
I know a lot of parents like to put that in their kids' lunches. You know, we don't use any corn
Ah,
syrup or white sugar.
oh.
You know, as far as gummies go, we try and use the
Mm-hmm.
healthy ingredients, Whole Foods approved ingredients. So we use tapioca syrup as a sweetener and organic cane sugar, and
Mm.
they're all vegan as well. There's no gelatin in the gummies.
Oh,
It's made
wow.
with this really
Oh,
nice apple-based pectin that we get
uh-huh.
from Germany. So the
Hmm.
gummies are the individual flavors. The coffee is our best-selling product.
I
Uh,
bet.
whenever we come up with a new product, I usually go and buy, you know, the 5, 10 most popular brands out there, so I can really understand what others are doing. And
Uh-huh.
most of these mushroom coffees taste healthy, is a nice way to say it, but they don't taste that great, you know. And I'm a big
Yeah.
coffee drinker, and so you know, if I was
Yeah,
going to
me too.
switch this really ingrained
Second
habit,
cup today. Uh-huh.
yeah, it's got to be something that tastes good, and
Mm-hmm.
so and then also good for you. So that
Yeah.
product in particular has the most mushrooms per serving of any of our products. So there's 3,000 milligrams per tablespoon, and you
Uh-huh.
just mix it in with hot water. It dissolves really well, which was another thing that I didn't like about some of these other mushroom brands. You kind of ended up with this sludge in the bottom of your cup. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Or grainy. Sometimes the grainy taste.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So this one actually tastes more like hot cocoa. It does have
Oh,
some organic
nice.
uh, coffee in there as well, but it's like
Okay.
55 milligrams of caffeine, which is about a third of a cup of coffee or a cup of Earl Grey
Mm-hmm.
tea. Then
Okay.
the energy from the cordyceps and lion's mane also helps with a boost. Whenever I have like a early morning sales meeting, I usually go
Uh-huh.
for 2 cups of Mycroboost, and I feel really on point for
Yeah, I bet.
yeah. And then the vegan soft gels are ones that we've done the different combinations. So we have 3 different vegan soft gel SKUs: the brain, which is cordyceps and lion's mane; the immunity, chaga, reishi, and turkey tail; and then wellness is just all 5 of them. But those are vegan soft gels as well. You know, it's very health
Yep.
conscious consumer that is looking for functional mushrooms. And the
Uh-huh.
vegan soft gels, they're pretty cool. So that's made with tapioca starch, which is the same
Oh,
ingredient
wow.
that boba is made out of,
Uh-huh.
and it has a natural what they call in the soft gel biz enteric coating. And I don't expect anybody to know what
Okay.
that is, but what it
I'm
does.
familiar with the word, but not the
So what it
details.
does
Go
is
ahead.
people will put an enteric coating on gelatin soft gels because it raises the pH of the shell. So the
Right.
pH
So it can get
are
down.
right. So many supplements, you take them and they're destroyed by the acid in our gut. And so the pH of your stomach is usually between 4 and 5, which is right at the
Mm.
pH of a gelatin soft gel. So it'll dissolve in your stomach, and a lot of the actives in there can be destroyed in the process. So
Uh-huh.
that's why they'll sometimes add an enteric coating. But with tapioca starch, it actually has a natural pH of 7, so it survives
Oh,
the
nice.
gut, breaks down in the intestine, which is just a long way of saying that there's so much more of what's in there is actually absorbed by your body and felt and benefited from.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, there are a lot of supplement companies that have started doing that.
Yeah,
for exactly that reason.
I like a cheeseburger or a steak from time to time, but I've never had someone insist that they must have animal products in their soft gels. So everyone wins.
I absolutely. That sounds great.
I don't think it's just people over 50, Susan, that want a healthier brain.
Oh no.
I agree. The ability to focus, concentrate more. I think,
especially these days.
Yeah, COVID just really, put our health really right in the forefront for everybody, and mental health as well. I think we're all kind of still recovering from a collective PTSD of sorts from being
for sure
cut off from
for sure. Yeah, and so many people still are. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but so many people are now working from home, but now home isn't even the escape anymore, right? Because you're stuck there working on your laptop, and the only place you get to go is down the hall and maybe for a walk at lunchtime or something. I mean, it's just
right.
Yeah,
I'm the kind of guy that likes to be out and interacting with people, and so that was really challenging for me. Fortunately, in California, the vitamins and supplements were still ruled as an essential business.
That's right.
We really started right as COVID hit. So
okay.
The benefits of some companies during that time, we didn't have the access to. We didn't have years of history from this particular company, but thankfully we made it through that, and now we're just trying to make sure that we stay healthy, and then we keep giving people quality products, because I've never been an amazing marketer, but I've always believed that when we do find people that'll try our products, that they'll keep coming back, because we'll give them really good service and the highest quality product possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, well, with all of that being said, I think we probably can wrap up. We've been at this for a while.
Okay.
So, and let's see, your website is mycroboost.com with a Y, M-Y.
Yeah, Mycroboost.com. You can find us on Instagram at Mycroboost. If you want to find my writing in Rolling Stone, you can search, Robert Johnson, Rolling Stone, psychedelics, and myself and some of my fellow mushroom entrepreneurs and journalists will be speaking at South by Southwest this March. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that should be fun for sure. Yep. I will put your website and your Instagram in the show notes so people can find you if they look at the show notes. I think if people are the same way I am when I listen to podcasts, I never look at the show notes, especially if I'm just listening. It's like, give me a break.
Well, if they did like what they hear and they want to learn more,
that's right. Exactly.
A ton of information about each one of these mushrooms, and
no, it's great. Yeah, for sure. So with that, I am going to thank Robert for joining us and say the same thing that I always say at the end, which is that neither of us are doctors, and this is not to be seen as medical advice. And so with that, I will see everybody next week.
This has been Healthy Tips After 50 with Susan Rosen. To stay on the cutting edge of the most effective health strategies, subscribe to this podcast and let us know what you thought of the show with a comment or like on iTunes. Visit healthytipsafter50.com for this episode's show notes, more resources, and free offers.